Hello, Dumelang. My name is Leboga Madise, also known as Lebo or Fruity Mo. I come from Pretoria, a city north of Johannesburg in South Africa. If you want to connect with me online, the best way to do so is on Twitter using my handle at Lebo Madise. Thank you for joining me. In the earlier video, you learned how to create your GitHub account and personalize it with an avatar and name. In this session, you will learn how to collaborate with your team members using GitHub. Let's navigate to github.com, the home for all developers, including you. To kickstart, we will create a repository. So a repository, also known as a repo, contains all the project files and each file's version history. To start, we will click over here where it says repositories. And then, if you haven't created any repositories in the past, over here it will be empty. As you can see, there are a couple of repositories that I've created, but we're going to create one from scratch. I'm going to click New, and then I'm going to give my repository a name. So this can be the name of your project or the name of your team if you are participating in the hackathon, or the name of anything you're working on. So since we are working together as a team, I'm going to call it Team Rockstars. And then GitHub does check if the name is available, and the name of your repository will constitute of your GitHub username and / the name of the repository. That will form part of the URL of your repository. You can give a description over here. So for my description, I'm going to say this is Team Rockstars participants of the hack solving SMME issues. Okay, this is our mission as Team Rockstars. You can choose as to whether or not you're going to make your repository public or private. So I'm choosing to make this one private, as with most teams, I suppose. And you can change this anytime. So it doesn't mean if it's private, it'll be private forever. And then you can choose whether or not you want to initialize your repository with a README. Sometimes I do this later, but for now, we will just add it. And then you can choose to add git ignore so that it doesn't track the files that are not necessary, okay? And there are some built-in templates. So if you click over here, you'll see there's a git ignore template for ActionScript, for Android, you know, for C++, Cake PHP. You know, there's many, as you can see. And you can also define one of your own. So if you don't know which one you'll need, you can add this later after you and your team members have decided which tech stack you're going to use to build your project. Okay, and then I'm going to create my repository. As you can see, my repository has been created. And then over here, this is the URL of the repository, Team Rockstars. Okay, So the goal of the session is to learn how to work as an agile team using Kanban. So we're going to create a project and link it to this repository. To do that, I'm going to go back to my main profile page, and then I'm going to click on projects, and then I'm going to click on new project. Okay, so you can start from scratch either using a table or a board. There are some built-in project templates. So there are team backlog templates. This is to enable collaboration for different team members. And there's also feature project templates. So let's say you are working on a project on your own and you want to manage your productivity by prioritizing certain features, you can use the project template for features. And you can also have a view here as to what it looks like. Okay. So I'm going to create a team backlog. Okay. This is the default view of my team projects backlog, and this is the name. So it's given the name of the backlog to be my username, which is not appealing because this is not a solo project. This is a team rockstars backlog. So I'm gonna rename it like that. And then I don't know about you, but I like using the Kanban style of to do, doing, and done. Okay, so I'm gonna rename my new bucket to do. Okay, and then over here I have, actually I can delete this altogether. Yes, delete the column, and then just rename this backlog one as to do, and then delete this ready one, and then so doing and in progress mean the same thing, so I'm going to leave it there. In review, I'm going to leave it in case there are some items that need to be reviewed before they can be considered as done. And then we have the done bucket over here, which I'm very happy with. So this is my Kanban project board. And then I can also give a description. Team Rock Stars Kanban board to manage project delivery and progress. Okay, so that's the project's description. Before I add any items, I want to go back. I actually want to go to settings and add collaborators to my repository. So you click on your profile and you click on settings, and then okay, sorry, actually let me go back. Profile, repositories, Team Rockstars, and then click on settings. As you can see, under general, you have to go to under access where it says collaborators. You click over there, and then it tells you the status of who has access at the moment. So since this is a private repository, the only people who have access to it are people who are added to the repository. Right now, I've got 0 collaborators because I have not added anyone. So I'm going to invite Fruitimo to the project. Okay, so I've added Fruitimo as a collaborator, and it has sent her the invite, and the invite will remain valid for 7 days or until she accepts it. Okay, I'm quickly gonna switch to my personal profile and accept that invite so that we can continue with a team member. Okay, so I've accepted the invite. Let me refresh over here. Okay, let me refresh again. Okay, as you can see now, the status has changed, and it does reflect that this person is now a collaborator for the repository. So they will have access to this private repository. And you're not limited to how many people you can add. So you can add all your team members here, irrespective of role. So whether they are designers or marketeers, I recommend that you add them. So now we're going to go to our projects page. To make it easy for me to find this project, I'm going to, oops. Okay, so here's my project. Okay, so now that my project is done, I'm going to start adding some items to it. Okay, some work items to it. So each work item is a task that needs to be done. Okay, so I'm going to start off with create project skeleton. Okay, as you can see, it has added the issue as a draft. Okay. okay, as a draft. And then I'm going to add a couple more. Create wireframes. So these are just tasks that top of mind I'm thinking of that a typical hackathon team would need. Develop business plan, um, define roles and responsibilities. Okay. Um, design logo. And develop presentation. Yeah, I'll find a better word for it, but basically, presentation / pitch deck. Yeah, so I think this is a better word. Okay, so I'm going to stick with these for now, but I would encourage every member of the team to put in as many tasks as they come to their mind because they become drafts like this. And then only when they are in to do you regard them as official work items that team members need to work on. So the create project skeleton is something that's very important. I like all my projects to have a structure. So you click on the three dots and you say convert to issue. And then it will ask you which repository do you want to align this with. And I'm saying Team Rockstars. So now Team Rockstars create project skeleton is issue number 1 in Team Rockstars. As you'll see, issues are assigned in numeric ascending order, in the order in which they are created. But you can pick any issue to work on that you want. And then create wireframes. This is also quite important so that everybody has the same picture of what the end goal looks like. A business plan for us to be able to determine the viability of our solution is also important. Defining roles and responsibility for us to be productive and knowing and also have a, a contract of accountability. We need to have roles and responsibilities. Design the logo. So here you can choose to use the logo of the SMME whose solution you're developing, or you can use your own team logo, but it needs to be incorporated in the solution. Last but not least, develop a pitch deck. Okay, so these are all work items. I haven't as yet assigned a status to it as to which one is important. Okay, so I'm going to move this card to do, because it's quite important and it's something that I'll be working on shortly. And then defining roles and responsibilities. What else? Oh, and I'm also, for purposes of this example, I'm gonna say create hello world sample program. I'm just gonna add it here and also convert that to an issue. Okay, so I'm just gonna zoom out so that you have a full view of all my current issues. So this is my current Kanban board. I'm gonna move this one also to do. So the first item that I'm gonna work on is the create project skeleton, so that myself and Frutimo, there's a distinction as to who's working on what. I'm going to start assigning responsibilities, even though I'm going to assign issues, even though we haven't as yet defined the roles and responsibilities. So I'm going to click on the three dots. Sorry, I'm going to click on the issue name. Okay, and then you can give a description if you want, but I think it's very clear from the name as to what is expected here. From a priority perspective, I'm gonna say this is urgent. Before any work is done, let's have the skeleton done and in place. Okay, and then I'm gonna assign this to myself, and issues can be assigned to more than one person, but I'm just gonna assign it to myself for now. And then I'm going to close it over here. I'm going to close that bubble. So this one is urgent. And then the defining roles and responsibilities. I'm going to click over here. And then I'm going to assign this one to Frutimo. And then in terms of priority, I'm going to say it's medium. Okay. And then creating a Hello World sample program. I'm going to assign that to myself. And then I'm going to say the priority for that one is low. You know. Okay, so that's the update so far. And you can view this Kanban board by priority. So if I click on by priority, I can see that now my tasks have been ranked. The urgent task has been given rank number 1, the medium task rank number 2, and the low priority one rank number 3. And the ones that have no priority are listed in the order in which they were created. You can also see who's assigned to the issue, the status of the issue, whether it's in to do, in progress, in review, or done, the priority, as well as the any linked pull requests or labels. Okay, so labels, I just want to show you something quickly. For example, the defined roles and responsibility, right? For that one, we can assign a label. You can say, I would say it's a very good first issue. And also I would say it falls under documentation. Yeah, for now, this is how I choose to label it. Okay. And you can add your own personalized labels as well. So now that I'm happy, I'm going to start with the first one, which is create project skeleton. So I'm going to move that to in progress and head on to my code. So I'm going to go to the repository, Team Rockstars. Okay. And then I would like to actually open this using Visual Studio Code Online it's just a quick way for me to be able to add some folders to it. So to do that, you're going to click on the dot on your keyboard. So over here, I'm going to show you now. So make sure that you are also on the code tab of your repository. It won't work if you are in any one of these. You have to be on the code tab. Okay, then I'm going to click the dot on my keyboard and it's going to set up my Visual Studio Code Online web editor. So it's opening the Team Rockstars repository. So currently all it has is a README and nothing else. So I'm going to start creating a few folders just to give it a little bit of structure. So I want a folder where all the designs are going to go. And then I also want a folder where the business plan is going to go in. Okay. And then I also want a folder where the source code is going to go in. Okay. So in each folder, I'm just going to add a README and I'm going to append the README with the folder name so I can differentiate the READMEs from each other. So I'm going to call this one Business Plan README. And then I'm going to make it a markdown file. You can choose for yourself whether you want to make it a TXT file or an HTML file or an XML file, but I love working with markdown files. So mine is going to be a MD file. So design read me and source code read me. Okay, now that I've created all these three files, as you can see over here, there's a bubble showing that, hey, the version of the files that I have currently on my web editor are ahead of the version of the repository that's online on my GitHub. So to bring it all up to date, I need to commit and push it to my online repo. So my commit message is going to be created initial project skeleton. So before I commit and push it in, I remember that I actually have an issue on GitHub that is related to the project skeleton, and it happens to be issue number 1. So I'm going to link this commit message to that issue by saying #1, and then click on the sign, which is for commit and push. Okay, great stuff. So now everything that is on my web editor is on the same version as the code that's on my GitHub. So I'm going to navigate back to my GitHub by erasing the .dev over here and putting .com. Okay, now that I'm back to my repo, you can see the changes. So I now have, as you can see, 3 folders: business plan, design, and source code. And then this README is for the overall repo. And then inside my business plan, I've got a readme.md markdown file, which is empty at the moment. Okay. And then all this, as you can see, I committed them, right? And linked the commits to this issue number 1. And if you hover over here, it tells you the issue title is Create Project Skeleton. So this is just good programming practice or project management practice to link your commits to issues, okay? So that your Scrum Master or team lead or anyone in the team can actually follow what's going on in the project. Okay, so yeah, this has happened, and then now I can actually update my issue progress to say, hey, this current issue, the create project skeleton issue, I can actually update its status. Okay, so it was initially in progress, and now that I'm happy, I can say it's done. Okay, and I can also close the issue because I'm happy with with what I've done. So I've created the initial setup for the project skeleton. Okay, and then I'm gonna close with comment. Okay, so now as you can see, it updates the status of the issue to closed, and it also says who closed it and why did they close it. So I closed it as completed. Okay, so now my issue counters went down. It went from 7 to 6. So let's go back so that you can view. So as you can see, I've got 6 open issues and 1 closed. And then I can see I still have 1 that is assigned to me, and then the other one is assigned to my teammate. Okay, so I'm going to start working on my second issue, which is issue number 7. Okay, that is assigned to me. So issue number 7 is assigned to me, so I'm gonna start working on it. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to where it says code, and then because it's code, I'm gonna create it here inside this file where it says source code. Okay, and then I'm gonna go and say add file, and then I'm gonna say new file, and then I'm gonna call my file hello world. So You can write a hello world in any language you choose, C++, Java, Python. It's really up to you. You just need to append the file name to the extension of the file type. So I'm looking to do this in Python. So it's going to be .py. And then if I was looking to do this in C++, it was going to be .cpp. And if I was looking to do it in C#, it was going to be .cs. If I was looking to do this in C, it was going to be .c and so on. So I'm going to write here .py, okay? Before I even write anything, normally my initial commits, I try and submit them as I've created the file so that it becomes easier to track back, in the event that I want to make changes. So create hello world.py, and this is related to issue number 7. So I'm going to tag issue number 7 over there, and then I'm going to say commit to new file. Okay, so now I've got a new file added, and it's a Python file, okay? Although it has no Python code in it as yet. So I'm going to click inside, and then I'm going to click on this pencil sign so I can edit the file. So you're free to edit directly from inside of GitHub, or you can open the web editor. So for minor changes, I do them directly here, but as your code evolves, it would be better to do it inside of the web editor. And what I love about the web editor is that it checks for any errors because it's got IntelliSense built in, although for Python, the IntelliSense is limited. So I'm going to write my Python code, print hello world. Okay. And then I'm going to check this in. Update hello.py. And then I must remember to put in my issue because I'm working on issue number 7. Okay, so added print message. That says hello world. And then I'm going to commit. Okay, so now I have one file, and that file has the message hello world hello world, okay? And it's inside of my source code. So it's neat. Like you're not seeing lots of code files here and everything, okay? Yeah, so this is how you do stuff, okay? So now I can also go back and say, actually, I'm happy with this, or I can add a comment. Okay. The code below prints hello world to the screen. So here I'm just saying what the code does. It's good practice to have comments in your code. So I'm gonna say update hello.py and then link it to the issue. Okay, as you can see, it's done. So now I can go to my issues And then I can go to issue number 7. So as soon as someone starts working on an issue, it's over here, as you can see. And I can see the history of what's been happening in that issue. As you can see, the status didn't change because I didn't update it from to do to in progress and stuff. But now I'm done. I'm happy. So I'm going to click done. And then I'm going to add a comment and say, added hello world Python file. And then I'm going to close it with a comment because it's done. Okay. So I want to show you. So now I've got 5 issues open and 2 done, 2 completed. But I want to show you the effect that this has. Okay, so I haven't pinned my project, so I can't see it here. To find it, I need to click here to bookmark it. So now I can see it here. Okay, I'm gonna click on my backlog, and then as you can see, I now have 4 issues over here that are waiting to be picked up. And then I've got this one that's still in to do and assigned to my collaborator. I've got nothing in review, nothing in progress, and I've got 2 here that are done, which is great. Okay. So all this is really great, but it definitely can be better. Okay. So, I mean, when you get busy, you will forget to change the status of stuff, and you don't want to have to worry about stuff like that. So, what I want to show you is that you can actually automate the status of your issues from to do to doing and done by implementing workflows. Okay, so if you configure the workflows, they will help keep the status of a project. When you're working on one, it will automatically put it into to do. So if someone creates like a new issue or creates a pull request, that will assign it as to do. And if it's done and they close it, it will move to done. And if they are working on it, meaning submitting commit messages that are linked to the issue, it will move it to in progress automatically. And then you can also track the progress of your entire team. Okay, so you can see how many issues are in to do, in progress, or done or done columns, and count the overall project of the progress of the project. So if to do this, you need to enable progress tracking. And if progress tracking is enabled, you will start seeing a progress bar appear on the project board itself and also on the project listing page, in the issue sidebar, as well as in the references to the project on other boards. So learn more by visiting the GitHub docs and and implement automation for your Kanban. All the best, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.